You know, making a sequel is easy, but making a sequel that's better than the original, that is almost impossible. Because making a sequel that is so good, it makes you reconsider everything you knew about the original, well, that happens maybe once a decade, if we're lucky. But today, I have 10 films that didn't just follow the original, they beat it. So pop that tape in, I got you. Let's go do this. All right, so before we jump into it, the standard I'm holding these to is very specific. Not just better than the original, but better in a way that changes the entire franchise. Better in a way that sort of retroactively enriches what came before it, more than just simply replacing it. Better in a way that helps prove the sequel format overall. When executed with genuine vision and craft, this is how you do a sequel. Something that maybe the original couldn't do or didn't do. That is the standard. And I wanted to address one other thing real quick before we start the countdown. The Godfather Part 2 is not on this list. Stay with me here. The Godfather 2 is genuinely extraordinary, a great film, all of those kind of things. And that discussion has been had so many times. That's the one that everybody points to. That's the one that everybody goes to. You've heard that argument so many times that I wanted to break some new ground with a lot of these. So that one is safely in this discussion, but it's not on this list. So if that bothers you, I'm sorry, but that one's been talked about to death. But now let's get to the countdown of the 10 that are here, starting with the most modern one on this list. It's 2017's Thor Ragnarok. The most modern one here, so it's the newest one because there hasn't been a lot of great movies in the past 10 or 15 years. And this one came out of the modern Hollywood sequel machine, so you don't really have a lot of hope for it. But Thor's first film is so forgettable. First two films, so forgettable. Thor is fine. Thor Dark World is one of the weakest films in the entire MCU. And that helps make the case of why this one's so compelling. I'm not that crazy about the director. He hit on a formula here. Taika Waititi, I believe is how you say his name. Everything worked on this film. Thor Ragnarok took everything that wasn't working with the other Thor films and went to Shakespearean pomposity with this one. The earthbound romances, the generic villainy, and it just took it, replaced it with basically Planet Hulk in a crazy Marvel film. Genuine absurdism, great visuals, fun. Jeff Goldblum doing Grandmaster Jeff Goldblum things as Jeff Goldblum when the camera's on him. Cate Blanchett is Hela. Tom Hiddleston doing a great job. Tessa Thompson is okay as Valkyrie, but she's not the story here. Thor getting to be light and fun, but still strong and tough and badass. All of those things. And you get Thor and Hulk's relationship, Thor and Loki's relationship. Ragnarok didn't just exceed its predecessors. It essentially invented a different and better version of Thor that unfortunately got sort of bastardized later, and they emasculated him and everything. But here, it had all the secret sauce, and I think it is the best of the franchise, and it's not even close. Thor Ragnarok comes in at number 10. And then we jump to 1982 with Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Khan! This is the most dramatic quality gap, maybe, between the original and the sequel. There's always a saying that, it was every other movie in the Star Trek franchise that was really good. But Star Trek II, the motion picture, came out in 1979, and it wasn't that great overall. It was a hard film to sit through for 2.5+ hours. But Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, came out in the great movie year of 1982. Nicholas Meyer directed it. You got Ricardo Montalban in here as Khan. Noonien Singh, one of the greatest over-the-top villain performances in sci-fi fiction history here. The death of Spock, the Genesis device, the whole "I have and shall always be your friend." Like, there's just a lot of dramatic weight in the whole yelling of Khan. This one understood everything that the original missed. Star Trek is about technology, Kirk and Spock's friendship, all of those things, the visual spectacle, good villains, genuine danger, self-sacrificing, all of that stuff that made the series so powerful under Gene Roddenberry. This is the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Great lines, great scenes. It's not even close. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, far superior, demolishes the original. Oh boy, this next one is where the controversy is really going to begin. And this one's going to be tough for a lot of you to take. And that is Blade Runner 2049. Now listen, Harrison Ford is probably my favorite overall actor of all time. I wouldn't say movie star. That's Schwarzenegger and Stallone. But those three, I mean, they're up there. And I love the original Blade Runner. And I want to acknowledge that up front. Blade Runner 1982, again, one of the most visually influential films. The rain, the neon, tears in the rain scene, the dystopian future. So many aspects of that film have been used so many times. It is just filmmaking atmosphere crunk up to 11. And Blade Runner 2049 is still better. Denis Villeneuve, or however you say his name, Ryan Gosling, he's a replicant Blade Runner who may or may not be something more than what he thinks he is. You got Ana de Armas in here, beautiful. Harrison Ford returning as Deckard, does a great job, picks up right where he left off. The cinematography in this is beautiful. The filmmakers, listen, here's my specific filmmaker argument on why 2049 is better. The original Blade Runner asks one question: what does it mean to be human? It asks it beautifully. It asks it atmospherically, but it never really fully answers it, which is part of its power, to be fair. 2049 asks the same question, and then it goes further. What it does is it asks, what does it mean to be human, and does it matter? What does it mean to have a life that is genuinely yours rather than assigned to you? What does it mean to sacrifice everything for a truth that might destroy the meaning of everything that you had built in your mind? There's a lot of stuff like that in 2049. It's a bit deeper, still has all the visual beauty and those things that you would want from this film. Blade Runner 2049, listen, I'm prepared for the fight on this. I totally get it, as I go with the neon in the rain sort of colors and looks here. I totally get it. I think 2049 not only holds its ground completely, I think you could argue, and I did, that it's better than the original. All right, now we're going to kick it back early 2000 style with 2004's Spider-Man 2. Now, I have the whole trilogy here. Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire, the best Spider-Man. Alfred Molina as Doc Ock, a great villain. And the film that most superhero directors, I feel like, have been trying to replicate, at least in part, since it came out. Spider-Man 2 is the best pre-MCU superhero movie, I believe. I'll stand by that. The first Spider-Man is an origin story. We got to get there. We got to get through everything. It has to spend a lot of its runtime getting there, becoming Spider-Man. And that's necessary. And it's done the right way. I believe that's how you should do it. But Spider-Man 2 then doesn't have those limitations. It doesn't have to, everything's already established. The world's established. The characters are established. Power's established. All of that. So Raimi can spend the entire film, asking the harder questions, doing the harder things, exploring more of what it means to be Spider-Man and what you're sacrificing. Is it really worth the cost? All of those things that you didn't have time to do in the original. The train sequence, Dr. Ock as a genuinely tragic villain. So not just a villain, but a tragic villain, a good man destroyed by his own creation rather than simply an evil one. The emotional honesty of that in the film, the heroism that you don't get explored now. You get it deconstructed. Spider-Man 2 didn't do that. It is a great film, not just a great superhero film, but a great film, and it beats the original, though I love it too. Spider-Man 2 comes in at number 7. And then there's 1978's Dawn of the Dead. George Romero in 1978 with an ambitious expansion of his franchise that started with Night of the Living Dead, that established the genre of zombie films as we think of them today for the most part. Small group of survivors, a specific like claustrophobia to the terror here, which always gets me. Dawn of the Dead took that concept and then expanded it into something genuinely different and greater. You take them, in these survivors, and you put them in a shopping mall. You've got 4 survivors and a satirical argument about consumerism, if you want to see it, American materialism, if you want to see it, pointed and specific and simultaneously completely full of pure horror. I like this. The zombies returning to the mall because of muscle memory is almost comedic at satire levels. It's so deeply embedded into who they are. It's a great concept in a horror theory for a movie. Romero gave Night of the Living Dead a sequel that honored everything about the original, but took it a step further. I could argue maybe that Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead, which I genuinely enjoy, is also just as good. It's scary with the fast zombies. This one set at 4th, and when there's no more room in hell, sequels will walk the earth. Dawn of the Dead, better than the original. All right, I'm ready to fight on the next one, but I'm going to do it because coming in at number 5 is 1992's Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. And hear me out, because I know a lot of you are immediately mad. It's basically the same movie in a different location, and that's easy to see, even if you're not into like dissecting films. But Home Alone is a kid learning to be by himself, defend himself, and the wet bandits in his house where he's comfortable in his safe space. Home Alone 2 takes that whole concept and moves it to New York, where he's in maybe one of the most overwhelming cities in America as a kid. But what it also does here, besides growing him up even more, is it turns actually the Christmas atmosphere way up. New York City in Christmas time, staying at the beautiful hotels, going to the toy stores, meeting the old, owner of the toy store, Christmas stuff everywhere. It has way more of a Christmas feel to it, honestly, than the original does. The original could have been set at any time that his parents wanted to go on vacation. This plays the way it does because it is Christmas. I think the structural template is the same. Essentially, they're the same movie, but the setting, the stakes, kind of being on the run, finding out who he is a little bit more when he's not protected by his safe space, I think that is huge. And I just think the setting adds so much more Christmas vibes to it. Give me Home Alone 2 over Home Alone 1. I know that's sacrilege, but I'll defend it. I think it's better. All right, so we might as well just keep on pushing the boundary here with 1986's Aliens. And listen, I love Aliens and James Cameron in 1986. I think it's 86, might have beat it. I think it did beat it. I think, man, it's hard to say, but I'm going to go with it. I pulled it here, and I'm going to try to stand by it, because Alien is really a haunted house film set in space on a spaceship. Ridley Scott is very claustrophobic, intimate, can't show as much stuff. Kind of the Jaws idea, not showing as much. And the terror of sort of having the overwhelming odds, though, comes in on Aliens, because you're set out and you're trapped against, you know what one alien or 2 aliens could do. Now you've got countless aliens So what are you going to do? And that's where Aliens, to me, genuinely goes greater. It brings in the action, survival aspect of it here. It scares the audience in a different way because it's hard to scare them the same way twice. In 1979, everything was unknown. This movie, everybody knows what the alien is and what to expect. So you've got to survive it more. We can not only survive one alien, we got to survive hundreds of aliens or however many there are there. This gave Cameron something much more to do. And, you got the "get away from her, you bitch." You know the line. Aliens, a sequel that didn't try to replicate the original's strength. It built an entirely new strength. And as a result, it is one of the best sequels ever made. And I might just give it the nod over the original. Now, coming in at number 3 is one that I don't expect as much pushback on, but it is 2008's The Dark Knight. Now, I've heard a lot of people say this movie's overrated. I disagree. I think Christopher Nolan's directing in this is overrated. But the story, the cinematography, the performances, not overrated. And I do believe it tops Batman Begins, but I also believe Batman Begins is an excellent underrated film from a cinematography standpoint. And you've got Batman, Bruce Wayne going to the Himalayan mountains and learning to, ninjutsu and stuff, like just breathtaking cinematography in a story like that. I actually think that's underrated, but I still think this movie tops it. The Dark Knight is something completely different from Batman Begins. Heath Ledger as the Joker, he didn't just play a great villain, he created a new kind of screen presence, unpredictable chaos that felt so real, it ultimately cost him in the real world. He slipped into that headspace so much and so many things it brought down on him, but it's all out there on display in the film. Nolan built the world around the performance. Make no mistake, it is Heath Ledger's performance, not Christopher Nolan, that makes this movie what it is right here. Without that performance, this movie may not be remembered that way because there's parts of it that could arguably be cut out for time that maybe didn't necessarily need to be there. But overall, better than Batman Begins, an underrated film. And it couldn't exist without that one to build from. Whereas the third film in this franchise falls apart completely. This one is the height of excellence, not overrated. Nolan's direction and his part in it is overrated. But the performance in the film, not overrated. And it edges out Batman Begins as being a little bit better. All right, here we go. We are going to 1989 and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. This is my favorite Indiana Jones movie in the franchise. And I'm just going to spoil something from a video that I have coming up on perfect films. Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, really just Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's what we called it growing up. That's a perfect film. It's a perfect film. This one is better because I think it is more nuanced, it's more fun, and it is just, I almost think it's more rewatchable because of the father-son dynamic in this movie. The technical point worth making here, Temple of Doom is a second Indiana Jones film, but chronologically, it is a prequel. So while it's not better than either of these films, I didn't consider it because technically it's a prequel. It comes before in the timeline. But what this one adds is Sean Connery as Henry Jones Sr., one of the greatest on-screen partnerships ever in an adventure story. And here is my specific case for Crusade exceeding Raiders as a perfect adventure, because the first film is a perfect film. It is a perfect film. But this one adds to it. I don't think this is a perfect film. So it's I'm almost making two arguments here, and you guys are going to get mad at me for that. This one is almost more of a fulfilling adventure film than just a perfect adventure film. And I guess it's a very nuanced argument that I'm making here, but emotionally, everything, Indiana Jones reconciling with his own father, us learning things about him we never knew, like how he got the scar, how he got his nickname. We named the dog Indiana. You know, all of those things. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade is perfect, almost, and the perfect ending to the franchise. It really probably should have ended there with Henry Jones calling his son Indiana for the first time and them riding off into the sunset together, family and friends. That is the perfect ending. You can come argue with me about it. I think Raiders is a perfect film. I think this overall is a more enjoyable film, and so I give it the nod. I mean, they're really splitting hairs. I hate to even do this, but this one's my favorite, and I'll stand by it. All right, here we go. The unquestioned, in my opinion, even over Godfather 2, the unquestioned #1 sequel of all time that beats the original, one of the greatest films ever made, is Empire Strikes Back. And this is the one and only pick that doesn't even require an argument. You can't argue with me. If you want to argue with me, go touch grass. There's no way. You got Irvin Kershner directing. You got Lawrence Kasdan writing this. And yeah, it's the darkest Star Wars film, you can argue. The most emotionally complex. The film that genuinely elevated the franchise even further beyond just simple entertainment. Empire is the gold standard of what sequels exceeding the original looks like. It is the reason. It's simple and profound. It trusted its audience completely. Star Wars, the original, ends with the heroes winning. The Death Star is destroyed. Empire defeated. The medal ceremony, everything is resolved neat in a bow. Empire ends with the heroes losing, Han's frozen, Luke's hands gone, the revelation at the center of the film that changes everything in cinema. No resolution, no comfort, just the promise that the story will continue and the knowledge that the galaxy has become genuinely darker and deeper than you ever realized. I love you, Empire Strikes Back. I know. It says that is the willingness here to really send your audience home without giving them anything they came there for. And that trust to come back for the resolution is guts on a level never displayed before in a sequel. And it made history in the franchise. I am your father. Words that will change everything. I love you. I know. Words that will change everything. The Empire Strikes Back is not just the greatest sequel ever made. It is the proof that sequels can achieve when everyone involved cares more about the story than a formula or message or anything else. #1, unanimously, forever, Empire Strikes Back, #1. And before we go, I know some of you are still thinking about Godfather Part 2. You're right. It is great. I like it better than the original. It's not the greatest sequel ever made. I am holding that in my hand. Empire Strikes Back is. But you already knew that, and that's why Godfather 2 isn't on the list. But the greatest one ever has to be. So I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but the discussion is still worth putting out there. The #1 sequel of all time, Empire Strikes Back. So there you go. 10 sequels, 0 apologies. Ragnarok, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, Blade Runner 2049, Spider-Man 2, Dawn of the Dead, Home Alone 2, Aliens, The Dark Knight, Last Crusade, and Empire Strikes Back. Because, and Godfather 2 is out there. We talked about it. Everybody talks about it. But you've heard that argument. And because of that, it's not here. I love these movies. I love so many sequels. Sometimes I think they're overdone. Now they get cranked out of a machine and they're done by an assembly line and they're done by committee and they've got to polish this and do that and check this box and check that box. These movies did not do that, and that helps make them awesome and better than the originals. And that's what I got for you this time. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. That really helps out the channel. Hitting the hype button apparently helps the channel too. That really would, help the video get out there. We're over 50,000 subscribers now. Next stop is 100,000, and I'm going to bring you along with me for the ride. I love doing this, and I love sharing and talking movies with you. And if you did too, and you want to help a little bit more, you can join my Patreon. The link is always down there. You get extra videos, behind the scenes looks at my filmmaking, members only videos, so much more, and of course your name and lights on every single video, and I really do appreciate it. But until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye. I know.